Hey everyone, welcome to our first episode here on our Mommy Life Squad podcast.
It's Tikva and Rena here, and today we'll talk about kids and their schedules.
Welcome to the Mommy Life Squad podcast, where we're going to talk about
things that nobody wants to talk about. Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that I feel like I'm struggling with currently, and I feel like this will definitely resonate with a lot of moms out there, especially with moms who have different age kids in their household, like myself. So scheduling and bedtime. The bedtime routine is like, oh my gosh, like a nightmare for me, literally, no pun intended. It is very difficult, and now that I'm friends with Tikva for the last 2 years, I realized that I'm kind of reliving those moments through Tikva's sleep habits with her kids. Like she's putting her kids to bed at 7:30 like I used to. And now I'm looking back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember I used to do that and I can't do that anymore. My older kids who are past bar and bat mitzvah don't want to sleep at 8 o'clock. They don't want to be in their room at that hour. And I get that. They're older. They need less sleep. But my younger kids are seeing that, and it's getting very difficult in my house to get my kids down at a normal hour. So let's talk about scheduling. Let's start with that.
Okay, so I think it just makes sense to start, so we're organized, is starting from the youngest age and then moving upwards. Mm-hmm. But I've always believed in scheduling my kids. I believe all kids could benefit from a schedule. Yes, some kids need it more than others. But I believe all kids need a schedule.
And besides for the kids needing the schedule, I feel like us moms need a schedule too. So our lives are more predictable, right?
Yes. You want to know that when you go out at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, you have to go out, your kids are going to be in bed, sleeping hopefully, and they won't be calling you a million times, where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. And just so everyone knows, because people don't really know us personally, it could be that you do know us, but for whoever doesn't know us, Tikva and I are almost a decade apart from each other. Mm-hmm. So that's why if I feel like our what we're going through in life is it's not really, we're not in sync with our home life. And actually it's really funny because a lot of times Tikva will call at 9 o'clock to discuss work, and I'll have 4 kids sitting around me, and she'll be like, what's going on over there? I mean, now she's used to it, but it's real life now, and it's becoming really difficult because I know this is gonna trigger some moms out there, but I really don't have much of a night myself, and that's really becoming very difficult for me because by the time I get my youngers down, my older kids need me, and by the time that the older kids are in their room, not sleeping even, I have my baby. So I'm just passing out when all the kids leave the room, and that's it. So it's becoming really, really difficult. I'm curious to hear what other moms have to say who have kids that are my age range. But let's talk about how it was prior to this. Let's talk about scheduling.
So again, it starts with the young. I believe in starting from a really young age. 3 months old, 4 months old. And what I suggest, honestly, is going on Google and searching sleep schedule for 5-month-old.
Well, actually, Sarah at Little Sleep, who we collaborated with in the past, is super resourceful, very, very knowledgeable in her field. And I would highly suggest you guys reaching out to her because she really knows her stuff, and she helped us in the past. So yeah, that's a start.
Yeah, also my Sleeping Baby Facebook group that really helped me when I was going through sleep training my kids. I know sleep training is a discussion in its own, and it's a very controversial topic, but there's so many ways of doing it. Right. But we'll just leave it at that. But let's talk about scheduling. Scheduling and sleep training, by the way, are not the same thing, and I know a lot of people mix that up. Scheduling is making sure your kid is sleeping at the right time so that they're not overtired. I'm talking about babies. They're sleeping at the right time so they're not overtired. For example, we just went out Rena has her baby who's 5 months old, and
right, that disastrous day that we had together. So where were we? Oh, we went to a challah bake together, and I brought my baby. Big mistake. I kind of disturbed her nap. I do have the doona, but that thing is so heavy. I was taking it out of the car, and she's a light sleeper. She woke up, and that killed her whole day. So also, some babies are just more sensitive than others. I remember you took your baby everywhere, and he never woke up.
Right. I guess it really just depends on your kid.
The temperament of the baby.
Right.
Yeah. But moving up past the baby, toddlers, getting them to bed at 7 o'clock. I had Dr. Schramm, by the way, my kid's pediatrician, had a great suggestion. She said she told this method to a lot of her patients, and it really works. Because we talk about like kids going to bed at a normal time. Let's say you can get them actually to bed at a normal time. So you like read them books and, whatever it is, bedtime, bath time, brush time, whatever it is. And then they're finally in their bed, but then they pop out. So what do we do about the popping out situation?
That's it. I know that's actually a big question that people have, and people try baby gates by their door.
Oh my gosh.
I'm personally not into that, but maybe my kids just know they have to stay in their bed.
Right.
Or else, I don't know where else.
I mean, this is a common, this is a common issue in every house, right?
Right.
So Dr. Schramm had this wonderful idea that she says you give them tickets. So every night they have tickets, and they're allowed to use up to 3 tickets per night. And they could use their ticket on getting a cup of water or using the bathroom.
I'll give them one. One ticket.
One ticket, yeah. Right. I know, I told her, I'm like, 3 is quite generous, But she says it works. I've done it for like a week on my kids, and they manipulated me and wanted more tickets. So it was difficult. If I were more on top of it, it probably would help. But that's just for the younger kids.
But then there's always the question of the younger kids who wake up really early, or those kids that wake up really early and they don't know to stay in their bed. They wake up at 5 a.m. I've had one of those, and they want to get up and they want to come out and play, and it's just too early. So I actually tried something and it really worked with my daughter, so I thought I'd just throw it in here and mention it. I got this alarm clock on Amazon. It's not a typical alarm clock. It's a traffic light alarm clock, and it's perfect for kids like from 2 years up, I think. And it's red all night. And then once you set, whatever time you set, like 7 a.m. or 6:30, whatever time you set, it turns green. So they know that once it's green, they can get out of bed. This really, really helped my first. Again, she was an early riser, but it really helped. Mm-hmm. So maybe now let's talk about different things that we do for bedtime routine, because we do believe in before you put them to bed, it really helps them to have some sort of routine to get them ready for bed, calm them down, relax them. So maybe let's talk about what we do with our kids ages 2 or maybe 3 till 7 years old.
Okay, so before that, I just want to add in that Dr. Schramm also gave me another tip. She said that you have to get your kids into bed at the same hour and wake them up at the same hour every morning. So meaning if you're going to put them to bed by 7:30, then and they need to wake up at 7, then if they're snoozing at 7:15, you go and physically wake them up. Okay, that way their body has what's the word? They're on like a something rhythm. There's a word for it. There's a scientific term for it, but then they're on a schedule, and your body is going to. I know it's really hard for parents to wake up their kids in the morning because you just want that coffee alone. But
did you know that actually one of the best times to sleep is between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. That's the best sleep you can get. So that's why that's why I really believe in 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Oh yes, I did know that.
That's one of the best times that you get the most beneficial sleep.
Your body, yes, I did know that. I heard that. That's true.
Just something I threw in there.
Right.
But let's go back to the bedtime routine. So what do we do to make bedtime a little smoother?
Right.
And I have some things that I've been doing now, which I could share, and I know Rena's been doing some stuff that has helped her. Do you want to start?
So I'll start off with what I have been doing. One of the things I've done, and my kids absolutely love it. Now, by the way, I only incorporate these things if my kids can keep to coming to their room at a certain time. So for example, in my house, my younger 2 have to be in their room by 7:45 in order for me to do these cool stuff with them. And what is that? So we do something called like massage night. We turn off all the lights, and my daughter has like this little glow lamp by her bed. So it makes it like a little, a nice dim vibe in the room. And then I take out my lavender lotion, and we put on soft, calming, relaxing music in the background, and I massage my children, give them like a back rub, a hand rub, whatever it is, for 10 minutes each kid, and they absolutely love it. Literally love it.
I'm going to throw in right now, because I think it's just the perfect time, for parents who have sensory children who crave that sensory touch.
Yeah.
So something that an OT actually told me, for my daughter who has her fair share of sensory issues.
Magnified.
Yes. So she loves the touch feeling. So she told me to just grab a pillow and just push it over her back before she goes to bed.
Wow.
And it just relaxes her. And she even asks for that now because she knows it relaxes her. And it basically like calms her down and gets her ready for bed.
Right.
And I see the nights that we do massage her or do just like push down with the pillow on her back, she does give us easier time for sleep.
Is that like a special pillow?
No, just any pillow.
Any pillow. So something that I heard from Tikva actually that I bought for my children are those weighted blankets. Do you still use those?
Yeah.
Okay, so I use a weighted blanket. It's like it's super heavy, by the way. That's my baby in the background. She's 5 months old. She's with us here at our podcast. Anyway, so the weighted blanket really helps with my 5-year-old son, and also actually it helps my daughter too.
Some kids are just sensory seekers and they need that.
Yeah.
They just love that feeling of pressure on their body, and it really helps them.
Yeah.
Even the OT told me to use that weighted blanket when they're doing homework. If you have a child who's just like everywhere and they can't sit still, so you kind of just give them the weighted blanket, put it on them, and it like holds them down and it makes them feel secure.
Right. Okay. That's great. So
you do the massaging,
and then I also do. Well, you do yours, and I'll say another one. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I've been doing recently, and it's really been helping me. But again, if they're able to get to their bedroom or get ready in time, like as in brush their teeth, pajamas, shower, whatever,
homework, everything has to be done by then. Yeah.
By that certain time frame. For us in our house, it's usually around 6:30. They get to listen to they have these Dovey and Yael books. And these books have CDs inside. So I just play a CD for them and they listen to it and they read along, and it has music and they love it. They really, really love it. And it gives me time to kind of just like clean up after them, put the dinner away. It just gives me time to catch up. And at the same time, they're so happy with this CD.
And they're unwinding. They're just unwinding at that time because it's not in their bedroom, right? They're doing this in in the office, right?
Right.
They're doing that in the office, and then they actually like calm down and then go to bed without a book, or they sometimes take a book, right?
Sometimes my kids should take a book in bed and read.
Right. Okay. And my other thing that I was going to say that I incorporate in my house is, what was the second thing? I forgot. My second thing. Was it the token?
Stories.
Oh, the story. Oh, yeah. Okay. So obviously we all read, books to our kids when we put them to bed. But I started to institute something different. My kids happen to be like obsessed with my childhood for some reason.
All kids are. My father used to tell stories when we were a child.
Yeah,
and when he was a child, we loved it.
Really? I don't remember my mom telling us stories when she was a kid. Maybe she didn't remember. I don't know. But I started saying like different stories of when I was like their age. And they actually, every time that we get to do this, they pick the age category that they want. So they'll be like, say a story when Ima was 4 years old. Say a story when Ima was 7 years old. Say a story. And it was really funny because last night they were like, say a story when Ima was 1 month old. And I started to say a story and they're like, how did you know all these details of the story? and I don't remember, like, I was like, oh, Ima told whatever. I had to improvise a lot. Obviously, these stories that kind of get like,
I don't remember my childhood. It's
no,
like, how do you remember that much?
Yeah, no, I don't, like, a lot of these are like kind of just, my imagination, because I ran out of stories, honestly. My kids really, really do look forward to it and they really enjoy it. And actually my son, who's 11 now, like I noticed that he started coming into the room as I'm telling my younger two the stories. And last night I told him, I'm like, okay, Ari, you got to go back to your room, go brush your teeth and get ready for bed. And he's like, no, I love these stories. He really wanted to sit there and listen to every single story I had. So that, again, they could only get these cute incentives once they complete everything that they needed to do before they go upstairs to their room.
And this gets them to comply so much easier. And
100%.
it makes the night run so much more smoothly.
Yeah, they're motivated. One big no-no is screen time before the kids go to sleep. In my house, we have a rule that we can only watch on Friday, and that's after they do their Shabbos jobs. And it's on like a kosher app, Tovito. We started changing up the rules in our house, and so far it's been working. But as you know, I mean, we're in a different generation, so it's getting harder for kids to be off of screens. Unfortunately, us as moms and parents, we're on our screens more than we should be. And so kids see that. So
and it's also addicting.
It's also
Screens
addicting,
are
yeah.
addicting in the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we also tried implementing this Friday rule, and once they know that it's only once a week, they won't ask. Like
Right.
they try to push their limit.
They still ask me,
but they know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they do know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really hard. It is a very hard thing because honestly, the only thing that keeps them quiet and out of your hair is either if they're sleeping or watching. In my house, at least, that's how it is.
But also, I did want to add that if you do have to put a screen on during the week and you do implement a rule of like Friday only rule, and if you have to put a screen on during the week because you just need that break, we're moms, we're people, we need a break sometimes. Don't feel guilty about it. You're allowed to give them the screen time. It's okay. You're allowed to have that break for yourself. And it's healthier for them to see a screen for a few minutes than to see a stressed out mom.
100%. I totally agree with that. Yes. And now moving on to the older kids. I feel like we're past the younger kids. We talked about different hacks and different ways we get the kids down to bed with the youngers. But then with the olders, which Tikva doesn't have yet, and I keep warning her that it's going to come and it's going to be really difficult.
So we're going to leave the stage to Rena now to tell us what she does with her older kids.
I wonder if there's other moms out there who are listening now who could, who feel like this resonates with them, who could, send us feedback because it is really, truly the biggest struggle. I found that all these older kids want is your attention. And so if you give them your undivided attention for a good solid 20 minutes every single night, just you and them individually, they're more inclined to going to their room on their own. They just want to hear you, talk to you, tell you about their day, and so on and so forth, and order a bunch of stuff on your phone. Because let's face it, if you have teens, they're ordering stuff all day long. And then like at some point they're gonna figure it out and they're gonna have to like realize that their body needs more sleep and it's harder for them to wake up in the morning. Baruch Hashem, it happens to be my kids do wake up on their own in the morning and it works out, but they are sleeping like way too late. What do you want to add in?
I mean, I don't have much to add because I don't have kids in this age group, but I want everyone to know that if they feel like life is just like their kids are always awake at this point of life, it's normal. I think it's just right. Like
right. I think the hard part for me is, and I think with most moms is that like when you're balancing so many different ages, then you really don't get that little moment at night for yourself. And then also on top of that, like connecting with our spouses, which is something I'm so big on, that is like, I think probably one of the hardest things because when our kids are finally down, even the older kids are finally in their room, maybe they might not be sleeping, but they're in their room with the door closed. Then you want to reconnect with your husband, but you're both so exhausted and so tired, but there's so much to share throughout the day, but you never had that opportunity because he's at work, you're at work, or you're with the kids, or whatever it is. It does get really hard. So this is, again, a total conversation for another episode.
I think this is something we should do in another episode.
Yeah. But for sure, and I know Tikva is really religious about this, date nights once a week with your husband. And even you don't have to go out to a fancy restaurant, just reconnecting,
especially
going
if you
on
have
a walk.
older kids, and I want to throw this in there. You have older kids, they're old enough to babysit, then take advantage of those walks.
Yeah,
go out, go take advantage. You don't need to get a babysitter to go out for 10 minutes. I have to get a babysitter to go out for 10 minutes. Yeah. You don't need to.
As Atar was walking, and my older daughter was walking out the door for carpool this morning, I like ran after him like, Atara, can you babysit tonight? Me and Abra are going out. Okay, bye. Have a good day. I love you. She was like, wait, what? I'm like, bye. And I slammed the door because I didn't want her to like think about it. But they do end up having a lot of homework. It's not easy for them to babysit.
I guess I'll be looking forward to that.
Right? I know. It's the reality of life. That's just how it goes. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening in, and we'll catch you at our next episode.
By the way, I just wanted to thank all of our listeners who listened to our pilot episode. And if you have any suggestions or topics that interest you, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, thank you guys. There's like a little summary on Spotify so we can see that you guys actually did click on it. So we weren't talking to ourselves at the end of the day, and that makes us feel great. But we also want to talk about things that you want to hear about. So tune in for the next one.